Alright guys, ZFR Gaming back here again today, and once again, let me just say, I'm sorry. I know it's been so freaking long. You guys must be tired of hearing that by now, but hey, like, what can I say? When you're busy, you're busy. But anyway, so pretty much in the last week, like, I actually didn't get a chance to review the second episode of Walking Dead or give my predictions for the third episode, which is coming up this Sunday. So I'm going to try and do that today. So pretty much getting into this review for episode 2 of season 7 of Walking Dead, The Well, which pretty much followed Morgan and Carol as they made it to the kingdom, and we got to meet all the characters from there. We got to meet Ezekiel. I forget the kid that Morgan was mentoring. I forget his name. Then we met a couple other people. Like we met like the big happy guy that's always guarding Ezekiel's throne or whatever. That's always like with him or something kind of like that. And then we also get, I forget, I think his name was Richard. I believe he was from the comics as well. Who kind of counts as the saviors later on. Like we met a lot of new characters, and this just goes to show you All Out War is going to be huge. We're going to have so many new characters come into the mix this season. Like, I mean, by season 8, the cast is going to be huge. There are going to be so many new people in this, and we're also going to lose a lot of people because of that. So just be prepared for that. There are going to be a lot of deaths between this season and the end of season 8. I mean, a lot of deaths. So just expect a lot of characters we do meet to die, and some of the old ones we already have to also die. So yeah, a lot of that's gonna be coming up. But anyway, this episode was awesome. I loved seeing Siva. I think the CGI on her was pretty good. I think they did a good job with that. It didn't seem too unrealistic to me. But you could tell, so it wasn't like super realistic, but it also wasn't so unrealistic that it just looked stupid and goofy. So yeah, they did a good job with that, I feel like. I can't wait to see Siva take out some saviors later on. I can't wait for all of that good stuff to happen. But anyway, yeah, we saw a lot of stuff this episode, and what I liked about this episode most that kind of stuck out to me, well, there were two big things. Obviously, there's one obvious one that we're going to talk about between Carol and Ezekiel towards the end. And just be warned, this is kind of going to contain very slight comic book spoilers. Very slight. Honestly, not really when I think about, like, I mean, if you watch the episode and pay attention, pretty much everything I'm about to say, you already know. Like, even if you haven't read the comics. So, pretty much, in the comics, we actually didn't see the saviors and the kingdom interact that much before they met with Rick and the group. So I thought this was kind of interesting because we actually got to see how the kingdom feels about the saviors, and I like the fact that we get to see this because we get to see they are actively trying to, rebel against them a little bit. Like, they're trying to take them out. They have more fighters. They're a little more aggressive than the Hilltop, but at the same time, like, they're struggling. And I like this because you didn't really get as big a sense of that in the comics. Like, you did get the sense that the kingdom really didn't like the saviors, and that they were already looking for a way to rebel against. Alright, sorry guys, I had to cut that part of the audio because I just like gave away a huge spoiler by accident. But yeah, we see that the kingdom is openly rebelling against the saviors, or not openly, but definitely more than the Hilltop is. So I really did like seeing that. I thought that was interesting what they were doing with the pigs. A lot of people actually didn't catch that. I was watching some videos, and it seems like there's a lot of people who actually missed that part. Yeah, they aren't eating any of those pigs. They're saving all those pigs for the saviors, which is why they're letting them feast on the walkers. So yeah. Also, moving on, the big thing I want to talk about in this review is Morgan. I mean, not Morgan and Carol, but Ezekiel and Carol. Like, pretty much, like, they confirmed right now in this episode, they confirmed a couple things. One, they pretty much confirmed that those two are going to be in a relationship. In case you guys don't know, they are giving Carol comic book Michonne storyline right now, and in the comics, Michonne hooked up with Ezekiel because in the comics Andrea was still alive and she was with Rick, not Michonne. But yeah, I think this was really interesting. I think that's an interesting pair up, especially since Carol at this point in the comics is dead. It's nice to see them throw her in there with a cool character. So yeah, Ezekiel and Carol, expect to see them in a relationship kind of from this point on going forward. Like, it's going to happen pretty soon. Like, it's not going to be something that happens later down the road. It's going to be pretty almost instant. Like, I think by the end of this episode, like, they're confirming that they're officially going to be in a relationship, because, you know, Ezekiel, he's coming for more to give her. He came to give her more than that apple, you know, like. So yeah, like, I mean, that's really awesome. But what this also confirms is, if it's anything like the comics, this also kind of confirms that Carol is going to be alive for at least until season 9 or 10. Carol is going to be a very long-term character, and I like that. I think Carol, like, it's easy to forget how amazing of a character she is, because you have to remember, they're completely freestyling with her character. At this point, she's in kind of same boat as people like Daryl and even Morgan, because Morgan and Carol, they're characters who have been around since the first season, but who died already at this point in the story in the comics. Like, Morgan died during All Out War, which was last season, and Carol, she died like way back at the prison in the comics, like before the governor even came into the story, if I remember correctly. So yeah, I think it's really awesome that they're just bringing these characters along, and that they're really developing them, and they're doing something interesting with them. I think that's a really awesome part of seeing these characters on screen and stuff. But yeah, for the most part, this episode, I hear a lot of people saying this was a very slow episode. I wouldn't call it a slow episode. I think it had a decent pace to it. It just didn't have too much action, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it's slow. That just means it wasn't an action-packed episode. But for the most part, I thought it was really enjoyable. I can't wait to see what happens in episode 3 of season 7 this week. I'm going to be doing my review for that, and I'm going to do my predictions. This time, I'm going to do all of it on time. I'm going to make that a goal for myself, even if I have to squeeze that time in. Like, I might have to start making these videos a little shorter so I can edit them a little bit faster and stuff, because I've been so busy, guys. But yeah, anyway, I think this episode was good. If I had to give this episode a grade, I would give it I would say like a 7.9ish, maybe a 8. Like, I think it was a really solid episode that set up a lot of stuff that's going to be necessary in the future, and I think that's an important thing to keep in mind. Like I said in one of my past videos, season 7 of The Walking Dead is going to be a lot of setting things up. Like, it's going to focus on setting the story up for a lot of cool things. So yeah, just keep that in mind when you're watching. Not every episode is going to be super fast paced. We definitely are going to have our share of, I feel like, slow episodes this season. But at the same time, they're all going to contain awesome stuff. And they are doing some other stuff with like Heath and Terror this season. I can't wait to see that a little bit later on. So yeah. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you guys really enjoyed. Don't forget to leave likes and comments down below and tell me what you guys think. And I will see you guys on the next video. ZFR out, guys.